My colleague Aldrin Sampear is covering the SAP's commemorative event and joins us now. Aldrin, could you give us an indication of what we can expect from today's proceedings?
Yeah, so later on today, Masichaba, we'll hear that keynote address from the acting president of the country, Paul Mashatile, who will be delivering that address to the plus 39 families that will be out here this morning to hear the names of their loved ones who died in the line of duty, as the names are engraved in that wall of remembrance right behind me. And we just walked through that wall a bit earlier on today. And I have to say, looking at all of those names that have been listed there, there is a chilling effect to this. Because, listen, these are people that have dedicated their life to protect and to serve South Africans in general. But, of course, some have this issue that has been raised before, and that is how do you ensure that the police are also able to attract the right caliber type of individuals who be able to protect and serve. And also, you'll go amongst these groups as well, unfortunately, you do find that there are police elements that are also rogue within the system itself, which has been an issue that has been raised before. But I want to introduce now somebody who's been working very close to police members, because they are also members of the union, that is Peter Ntsime, who is the president of the South African Policing Union, joining us today. Peter, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. What goes through your mind on a day like this?
No, thank you very much, and good morning to you and your viewers. Look, a day like this is always remind us as the members of the police what we are going through every day of our life. But let me first start by taking my head off, and we bow down to members who died and to thank their families for sharing with us, those members. It reminds us that indeed we live in a country that is very violent. We live in a country where criminals have no mercy to the police. We live in a country where police officers can be killed. It's abnormal. It cannot be normal. You can just imagine so many police officers that have been killed in just a period of 12 months. And in a day like this, we really appreciate that the management will come here today. We hope that the president, when we give the speech, will adhere to our call that killing of police officers must be characterized as a treason. Because we hold a view, and we've been consistent with that view, that you cannot kill a member of the police. Once you kill a member of the police, it's an attack to the state. So our view is that this type of crimes must be characterized as treason. And most importantly, those who have killed the police, we hold a view that they must not get bail, they must be harsher sentence, they must not even be released from prison, because they are attacking the state, they are attacking the president, they are attacking the members. The painful part is that once you kill the police, and you know that you have dismantled the backbone of those who prevent crime, then you are able to see members of communities being killed. That is why when you look at the level of crimes in this country, people who have been killed, they started by killing members of the police. Now they know that police have been killed. They will just kill almost everybody in the country.
And it's the brazenness of it, right? Because sometimes you watch, even during a protest, a service delivery protest, how some members of communities that are protesting would, quote unquote, disarm the police, or sometimes even attack the police while they are in their vehicles. On the other end as well, you sometimes find that police stations are being robbed of their firearms. These criminals going into police stations, the brazenness of this.
Exactly. That is why we hold a view that when we say treason, we make sure that we deal with the issue of criminals that attack members of the police. Let's look at what is happening. Members of our community, you see our members being attacked. And it's like, it's just normal. You cannot attack members of the police. So our position is that members of the community must work hand in hand with us as members of the police, and to make sure that when we prevent crime, they assist us, because we cannot prevent crime on our own. Our job is very simple. It's to prevent crime, to investigate crime where crime has been committed, and to make sure that there's law and order. Yep.
Peter, how do you ensure that you make sure that this profession still remains a noble profession? I'm going to show you visuals now of the young police officers who are still at the college, now walking up to the precinct, who will be sitting now as we start together, and the family members of those who have fallen, who would be coming to come and listen to the names of their family members who have lost their lives in the line of duty. And unfortunately, the harsh reality is that perhaps maybe some of these young people that have also taken up the call of duty to say that I will serve and protect may also one day be on this wall of remembrance?
That is the reality of our life as members of the police. When you wake up in the morning, there's no police officer who will just decide to go and kill. We wake up in the morning to go and help the communities. But one thing for sure that we are not sure of is that we may not go back home alive. They may go, you may go home and you may go to the mortuary. And that is reality in this country. So these youngsters that we see here, as and when we engage with them as the South African Policing Union, is to professionalize the police. But it's not only on us, it's on our communities, it's on our religious leaders, in the business leaders, in traditional leaders, in political leaders. So that when members of the police have been killed, it must be very clear that we hear the outcry. Because every time there is silence when members of the police have been killed. It is only in a day like this then where we remember that members of the police have been killed. Our call is that this must happen 365 days. 39 members in 12 months is not something that we can say is normal in a country like our country. So these youngsters that you see here, that you're going to sit looking at that, is the same like myself. When I go out in the morning, I'm going to protect a stranger, but that stranger can be the enemy today. Criminals in this country have no mercy. They kill, they carry military weapons. Police officers don't carry military weapons.
Do you think the police are adequately equipped?
We are adequately equipped, but we are under-resourced. Yeah, I mean, we look into the number of the police that are in the country. We don't have enough numbers of the police. And one of our calls to the President and the Seventh Administration is to make sure that they employ more police officers. There is an issue of danger allowance that we talk about. Police officers are not getting danger allowance. And these numbers that you see here is numbers that police officers who have been killed, and there's no danger allowance.
What do you mean that they don't get danger allowance?
Well, there is no danger allowance. They call 400 rands, that is called service allowance. Our call is that because of the kind of work that we do, there must be danger allowance that must be paid to members of the police because we are operational. We are working on the street. We are faced with reality of being killed on a daily basis. And one of the engagement with the department or with the government is that police officers, because of the work that they're doing, there must be a danger allowance for them.
Yeah. So just quickly on the danger allowance, in comparison to what are you looking at this danger allowance?
Look, danger allowance is that when you talk about the environment in which police officers are working, particularly those who are doing operation, there must be a danger allowance. There must be an allowance because of the kind of work that they are doing.
Are you comparing it to any industry, perhaps?
There is a danger allowance. There's been a danger allowance before. We know that the Public Service and Bargaining Council, Coordinating Bargaining Council, there is a discussion with regard to danger allowance with other a department. Our position is that the police is only institution where you see that members are faced with danger on a daily basis. That is why we're saying danger allowance. He said there must be an allowance for members of the police particularly. You'll never see any department where you have more than 30 members that have been killed in a period of 12 months. But in other countries, indeed there is danger allowance, and if there is no danger allowance, the payment that is being given to the police is sufficient enough to sustain them. We're having here members of the police who cannot afford housing. We're having here members of the police who are rich to be on the RDP house, and who are members of the community. Some of our members, even those who are, their names are not here, will be the members who have been killed on the way to work. Because when we report off duty, we go back to the very same communities, and that's where most of our members are vulnerable and they get killed.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. That is Peter Ntsime, who is the president of the South African Police Union, Masichaba. And a bit later on, we will be in conversation with the police commissioner, Fanny Masemula, to speak to him about some of these issues that unions such as SAPU are raising, as well as a pop crew when it comes to the danger allowance issue. And of course, as he says, that yes, we are adequately equipped but under-resourced, and we'll be raising those issues with General Fanny Masemula when he joins us a bit later on this morning.